Victor Vale's hand slammed against the marble dining table so hard that the crystal glasses trembled. "You will marry Camille," he said, his voice sharp enough to cut through steel. "And that is the end of this conversation." Across from him, Adrian Vale didn't flinch. He stood slowly, his jaw tight, eyes steady. "No, Father," he replied. "It's not the end." Outside the grand dining hall, hidden just beyond the half-open doors, Lena Morales froze. She hadn't meant to hear any of it. She had only come to return a book Adrian had left in the garden. But now her heart pounded as if it wanted to escape her chest. Victor's voice thundered again. "You will not throw away your future for a maid's daughter." Silence. Adrian's voice came quieter this time, but stronger. "I'm not throwing away my future. I'm choosing it." And in that moment, everything changed. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because this story, it doesn't end where you think it will. Adrian had returned from London only 3 months earlier. Educated, polished, groomed to inherit Vale Group Holdings, one of the largest investment empires in the country. Everyone expected him to step smoothly into his father's world. But Adrian had always been different. He didn't care for boardrooms. He cared for people. And that was how he had fallen in love. Lena Morales wasn't supposed to exist in his world. Her mother, Rosa, had worked in the Vale mansion for 18 years. She had cleaned the same marble floors that now echoed with Victor's anger. She had polished the same silver that gleamed under the chandelier. Lena grew up visiting her mother during school holidays. She would sit quietly in the staff quarters with textbooks balanced on her knees. She wasn't loud. She wasn't ambitious in a flashy way. She just worked hard. When Adrian returned from London, he saw her again for the first time in years. It started in the garden. He had been pacing with his phone pressed to his ear, arguing with a board member about a merger he didn't even believe in. "You don't understand," Adrian snapped. "Not everything is about leverage." He ended the call abruptly, and that was when he noticed her. Lena was kneeling by the rose bushes, helping her mother trim away the dead stems. The late afternoon sun caught in her hair. She looked up. Their eyes met. For a second, too long. He walked toward her without thinking. "I didn't know you were back," she said softly, standing. "I didn't know you were still coming here," he replied. "My mom needs help sometimes." He smiled. "You always hated these roses." She laughed. "I still do." That laugh stayed with him. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't cinematic. It was real. Over the next few weeks, they kept running into each other. In the library, by the fountain, in the kitchen late at night when Adrian wandered downstairs for coffee. "You're avoiding your father again," Lena teased once. "And you're studying too much again," he countered. "I have exams." "You've always had exams. And you've always had expectations." That was the first time he looked at her differently. "You think I don't want this life?" he asked quietly. She hesitated. "I think you're trying to live someone else's." No one had ever said that to him before. That night, he couldn't sleep. The mansion was too quiet, too controlled, too arranged. The next evening, he found her sitting alone near the staff quarters. "Walk with me," he said. She shook her head. "If your father sees us, he won't." "He always sees everything." Adrian stepped closer. "Then let him see." Her heart skipped. "Adrian, I'm tired of pretending I don't feel this." She swallowed. "Feel what?" He held her gaze. "You." For a long moment, she didn't breathe. "You don't know what you're saying," she whispered. "I know exactly what I'm saying. Your world isn't my world." "Then I'll make it yours." She stepped back. "You can't." "Why not?" "Because I don't want to be the reason you lose everything." His voice softened. "What if you're the reason I gain everything?" That was the night their secret began. Small moments, hidden glances, shared dreams. She told him about nursing school, about wanting to work in emergency care, about saving lives without caring who was rich or poor. You'd be incredible at it, he said. You say that like you've seen me work. I've seen how you look at people, he replied. You care. And you don't? She asked. He smiled faintly. Not about money. Weeks passed. They became careful. But love, even when whispered, grows loud. And in a house like the Vale Mansion, secrets don't stay hidden. One evening, Victor called for a formal family dinner. Adrian rarely attended, but something in his father's tone felt different. The table was set perfectly. Victor sat at the head. Beside him sat a poised young woman in an elegant navy dress. Adrian, Victor said, calm now, controlled. Meet Camille Laurent. Camille smiled gracefully. We've heard so much about you. Adrian's eyes flicked from her to his father. What is this? Victor folded his hands. An announcement. Adrian didn't sit. You're being dramatic, Victor continued. Camille's family has been our business partners for 20 years. Camille spoke gently. Our engagement will strengthen both companies. Adrian laughed under his breath. Engagement? Victor's gaze hardened. It's already arranged. The words hit like a slap. You arranged my marriage? Adrian asked, his voice low. It's time you stop behaving like a child. Adrian pushed his chair back. I'm not marrying her. Camille's expression shifted slightly, but she remained composed. Victor leaned forward. You will. No. Victor's jaw tightened. You will not embarrass this family. Adrian's voice dropped to a whisper. I'm already in love. The room went still, and outside the doorway, Lena felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. Victor's expression didn't change immediately. He simply leaned back in his chair, studying his son as if Adrian had just made a minor business miscalculation. You're in love, Victor repeated slowly. Yes. With who? Camille asked gently, though something sharp flickered behind her calm exterior. Adrian didn't hesitate. Lena. The name landed like a crack in glass. Victor blinked once. Lena? Who? Lena Morales. Victor's fingers tightened around his wine glass. The maid's daughter? He asked quietly. Yes. The silence that followed felt heavier than shouting. Camille inhaled softly. Adrian, I'm sure this is just... It's not, Adrian interrupted. It's not temporary. It's not rebellion. I love her. Victor stood up. Slowly, deliberately. You will apologize, he said. For what? For insulting this family with a joke. It's not a joke. Victor's hand slammed onto the table again. I did not build this empire from nothing so my son could throw it away on a fantasy. It's not a fantasy, Adrian shot back. She's smart. She's kind. She's studying nursing. I don't care if she's studying to be president, Victor snapped. She is not suitable. Camille stood gracefully. Perhaps we should all calm down. But Adrian was already shaking his head. You arranged my life without asking me, he said to his father. You don't get to decide who I love. Victor's voice dropped into something colder than anger. You think this is about love? Yes. It's about survival, Victor replied. It's about power. It's about protecting what generations will depend on. You mean protecting money? Victor's eyes flashed. I mean protecting you. I don't need protection from someone who cares about me. Victor stepped closer. You're naive. And you're afraid, Adrian said quietly. The words hit harder than any accusation. Victor's voice lowered. You will end this immediately. No. Or what? Victor asked. Adrian didn't answer. He didn't need to. He walked out. Outside, Lena was gone. She had heard enough. That night, Adrian found her near the garden gates. She was standing beside her mother's small car, arms wrapped around herself. You heard, he said softly. She nodded. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. She looked at him, eyes glassy but steady. You shouldn't have said my name. I'm not ashamed of you. I know, but your father is. He'll come around. She gave a sad smile. Men like him don't come around. They calculate. Don't do that, he whispered. Do what? Push me away before I've even tried. Lena's voice trembled slightly. You don't understand what this means. Then explain it to me. It means your father will blame my mother. It means he'll think we planned this. That's ridiculous. Is it? She asked quietly. He didn't answer, because somewhere deep down, he knew she might be right. The next morning, Victor didn't go to the office. Instead, he called Rosa Morales into his private study. Rosa stood near the door, hands clasped respectfully. You called for me, sir? Victor didn't offer her a seat. How long has your daughter been seeing my son? Rosa's face went pale. Sir? Don't pretend ignorance, Victor said calmly. I know. Rosa swallowed. I didn't know they were serious. So there was something. They are young, she said carefully. Sometimes feelings grow without planning. Victor's expression hardened. And did you encourage it? No, sir, Rosa said quickly. Never. I would never disrespect this house. Victor stood and walked toward the window. Do you know what people will say? He asked. Rosa remained silent. They will say you raised your daughter to trap my son. Rosa's eyes widened. That's not true. Truth doesn't matter, Victor replied coldly. Perception does. Rosa's voice cracked slightly. My daughter has her own dreams. She doesn't need... Enough. Victor turned around. You have been loyal for many years. I appreciate that. Her chest tightened. But this cannot continue. Sir, you and your daughter will leave the estate by the end of the week. The words sucked the air from the room. Leave? Rosa whispered. I will compensate you generously. We don't want compensation, Rosa said, trembling. We want dignity. Victor's gaze sharpened. Then take it and go quietly. Rosa lowered her head. Not in agreement. In heartbreak. When Lena found out, she felt something inside her collapse. They're firing you, she asked, disbelief flooding her voice. Rosa nodded slowly. I'm so sorry, Lena whispered. This is my fault. No, her mother said firmly. Love is never a fault. Lena's eyes filled. They think we planned this. Rosa placed her hands on her daughter's shoulders. Listen to me. We leave with our heads high. But Adrian? Adrian belongs to that world, Rosa said softly. And that world is not kind. Later that afternoon, Adrian stormed into his father's office. You're firing them. Victor didn't look up from his desk. I am protecting this family. You're punishing innocent people. I am removing temptation. Adrian's fists clenched. You think love is temptation? I think it is weakness. Adrian's voice shook with anger. If loving someone who cares about me is weakness, then maybe I don't want your kind of strength. Victor finally looked up. Be careful, he warned. Or what? Or you will learn what it means to stand alone. Adrian leaned forward. I already am. The tension between them wasn't just about Lena anymore. It was about control, and pride, and fear. That evening, security officers appeared near the staff quarters. Lena watched as her mother packed the last of their belongings into 2 small suitcases. This isn't over, Adrian said when he arrived breathless. It is, Lena replied quietly. No, I won't let this happen. You don't get to let it happen, she said, her voice breaking. It already is. He stepped closer. Come with me, he whispered. We'll figure it out. She shook her head. You don't know what you're asking. I'm asking you to trust me. I do trust you, she said softly. I just don't trust your world. Adrian stared at her as if she had just spoken a foreign language. You don't trust my world, he repeated. Lena's hands trembled slightly, but she kept her voice steady. Your world just threw my mother out after 18 years. My father did that? He is your world, Adrian. The words hung between them. Behind them, Rosa zipped up the final suitcase. The small staff room that had once felt safe now looked empty, stripped of warmth. Adrian stepped closer to Lena, lowering his voice. Then let me leave it. Her breath caught. What? I don't need the mansion. I don't need the inheritance. I don't need the board seat. I just need you. Stop, she whispered. I'm serious. And tomorrow? She asked. When reality sets in, when your father cuts you off completely, when your friends disappear, when you wake up and realize love doesn't pay hospital bills. I'll work. You've never worked a day outside your father's company. Then I'll learn. She closed her eyes for a second, fighting tears. This isn't a movie, Adrian. He grabbed her hands. Then what is it? It's real, she said. And real life is cruel to people like me. Security cleared their throats awkwardly. It's time, one of them said. Adrian turned toward them. You don't have to do this. They avoided his eyes. Rosa walked forward with dignity. Sir, she said gently to Adrian, though her voice was thick with emotion, take care of yourself. Don't call me that, he replied. You're family. Rosa smiled sadly. That is exactly the problem. The gates opened. The car drove out. And for the first time in his life, Adrian felt powerless. That night, he didn't return to the main house. He sat in the garden alone. Victor watched him from the balcony above. His wife had died years ago. The house had been silent ever since. He had poured himself into business because business never betrayed you. Numbers didn't fall in love with the wrong person. Contracts didn't get emotional. But his son was becoming unpredictable. Victor walked down into the garden. You will come inside, he said calmly. Adrian didn't move. I'm not done talking. Victor stood beside him. This is temporary pain, Victor said. You will thank me later. For humiliating her? Adrian asked without looking at him. For protecting you. You think she's using me? I think poverty teaches survival, Victor replied. And survival teaches strategy. Adrian stood up sharply. You don't know her. I know the world, Victor said. And the world is not kind to men who marry beneath their station. Then maybe the world needs to change. Victor's expression darkened. You speak like someone who has never lost everything. Adrian turned. What does that mean? Victor hesitated for a fraction of a second, but he didn't answer. Instead, he said, The engagement announcement will go public next week. You can't force me. I can remove you. From what? From everything, Victor said quietly. And for the first time, Adrian saw something in his father's eyes. Not just control, fear. The next morning, the headlines began circulating internally through corporate channels. Vale Group and Laurent Enterprises strengthened ties. Camille's family wasted no time. Camille herself requested to see Adrian privately. They met in a quiet lounge at one of the company's hotels. She sat straight-backed, composed as ever. I don't enjoy this situation, she began calmly. Then call it off, Adrian said. It's not that simple. It is for me. Camille studied him carefully. You really love her? Yes. She looked down at her hands briefly. My father expects this merger, she said. Your father expects it. Our shareholders expect it. And what do you expect? She hesitated. I expect stability. That's not love. It doesn't have to be. Adrian leaned back. Then marry someone who doesn't believe in love. She looked at him sharply. And give up my family's trust, my position, everything I've been trained for? He softened slightly. You deserve someone who chooses you. Camille's voice lowered. And you deserve someone who won't destroy your legacy. He stood up. My legacy isn't money. What is it? She asked quietly. He didn't hesitate. Her. Meanwhile, Lena and Rosa were settling into a small rented apartment across town. It wasn't luxurious, but it was theirs. Lena sat on the floor surrounded by textbooks she couldn't focus on. Her phone buzzed. Adrian. She stared at the screen, then answered. Hi. I'm coming over. No. Lena. No, she repeated. You can't keep chasing me like this. I'm not chasing, I'm choosing. Your father will destroy you. I don't care. But I do, she snapped, emotion spilling over. I don't want to be the reason you lose everything. You're the reason I'm willing to. Silence. Her voice softened. Adrian, if you walk away from your family, you'll resent me one day. I won't. You don't know that. He closed his eyes briefly. Tell me what to do. She swallowed hard. Let me go. The words felt like glass in her throat. On the other end, Adrian's breathing changed. You don't mean that. I do. No, you're scared. Yes, she admitted. I am. I'm scared of watching you hate me in 5 years. That won't happen. You can't promise that. Then let me try. She wiped her tears. Goodbye, Adrian. And she hung up. He stared at his phone. For the first time, doubt crept in. Not about loving her, but about whether love was enough. Back at the mansion, Victor received a call from one of his executives. Sir, the media is asking for confirmation of the engagement. Release the statement, Victor replied. And your son? Victor paused. He will comply. But upstairs, Adrian was packing a small bag. If you've made it this far, comment below. Do you think Adrian should fight harder? Or is Lena right? Because the next decision he makes will change everything. Adrian zipped up the duffel bag and looked around his room. Everything in it had been chosen for him. The paintings, the furniture, the awards framed on the walls. None of it felt like his. He picked up his phone and dialed Lena again. This time, she didn't answer. He grabbed his car keys. Downstairs, Victor stood in the foyer as if he had been waiting. Where are you going? His father asked calmly. Out. With a bag? Adrian didn't stop walking. I won't repeat myself, Victor said sharply. Adrian turned. You don't need to. Is this about her? It's about me. Victor's eyes narrowed. If you walk out that door, you do so without my support. I don't want it. You think independence is romantic? Victor asked. It's expensive. I'll manage. Victor stepped closer. You have never paid rent, never worried about bills, never struggled. Then maybe it's time I did. Victor's voice lowered dangerously. You will not embarrass this family. Embarrass? Adrian let out a bitter laugh. You already did that when you fired them like criminals. Victor's composure cracked slightly. I protected you. You protected your ego. For a moment, it looked like Victor might strike him. Instead, he said, if you leave now, don't expect to return. Adrian held his gaze. I won't. He walked out. Victor didn't call him back. He simply stood there, jaw tight, breathing controlled. But when the door closed, the silence felt heavier than victory. Adrian drove straight to Lena's apartment. He stood outside her building for several minutes before going up. When she opened the door and saw the bag slung over his shoulder, her face drained of color. What did you do? I left. Her heart dropped. You shouldn't have. I told him I don't want the money. She stepped outside and closed the door behind her so her mother wouldn't hear. Adrian, this is exactly what I didn't want. I'm not a child, Lena. I know you're not, she said, her voice trembling. That's why this scares me. I chose you, and I didn't ask you to. He ran a hand through his hair in frustration. What do you want from me? I want you to think, she whispered, not react. You think I'm reacting? You're angry. I'm in love. She looked at him, tears brimming again. And love isn't always enough. He stared at her as if she had betrayed him. You don't believe in us. I believe in us so much that I'm willing to walk away, she said. Because if we destroy your relationship with your father, it will poison us. My father destroyed it. He's still your father. Adrian looked away. I can't just go back in there like nothing happened. I'm not asking you to, she said gently. I'm asking you not to burn everything down tonight. He exhaled slowly. You're choosing my father over me. I'm choosing your future. He shook his head. No, he said quietly. You're choosing fear. Before she could answer, Rosa opened the door. Adrian? He straightened immediately. Mrs. Morales. Rosa looked between them. You left the mansion. Yes. Rosa sighed softly. You're young, she said. Both of you. With respect, Adrian replied. This isn't about youth. It always is, Rosa said gently. Youth believes love must fight immediately. Age knows love sometimes waits. I don't want to wait. Rosa stepped closer. If you stay here tonight, the newspapers will find out by morning. Your father will look humiliated, and humiliation makes powerful men dangerous. Adrian hesitated. You think he would hurt you? No, Rosa said carefully, but pride can make people do things they regret. Lena's voice broke. Please, go home. He looked at her. If I walk away right now, it won't be because I gave up. I know, she whispered. It will be because you asked me to. Her eyes filled. Thank you. He nodded once, then turned and left. As he drove back toward the mansion, rain began to fall. By the time he arrived, Victor was waiting in his study. You came back, Victor said. For now. Victor gestured to a chair. Sit. Adrian remained standing. Victor poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed one to his son. You think I'm your enemy, Victor said. Right now? Yes. Victor took a slow sip. When I was your age, I loved someone, he said quietly. Adrian froze. Victor never spoke about his past. She came from nothing, Victor continued. No connections, no money, just ambition. What happened? Adrian asked. I chose her over an opportunity, Victor replied. And I lost everything. Investors pulled out. My mentor walked away. I had to rebuild from ashes. And her? Victor's jaw tightened. She couldn't handle the fall. The words carried something heavy. So you're punishing me for your mistake? Adrian asked softly. I'm preventing you from repeating it. I'm not you. No, Victor agreed. You're softer. And you think that's weakness. Victor didn't answer directly. The engagement will move forward, he said instead. I won't marry Camille. Victor's patience thinned. You don't understand the consequences. Then explain them. Victor leaned forward. If this merger fails, our company becomes vulnerable. Competitors are waiting. Thousands of employees depend on this stability. Adrian hesitated for the first time. You're using fear. I'm using reality. Adrian's voice lowered. And what about what I want? Victor's response was immediate. You are not the only one who matters. The words landed hard, and for the first time, Adrian didn't have a reply. Adrian stood there, the weight of his father's words pressing against his chest. You are not the only one who matters. For a moment, he felt like a child again. Not the heir, not the rebel, just a son being reminded that the world was bigger than his emotions. But love didn't shrink just because responsibility grew. So what do you want from me? Adrian asked quietly. Victor didn't hesitate. End it. Publicly. Adrian's jaw tightened. Publicly? Yes, a clean break. No rumors, no scandal. You want me to humiliate her. I want to protect this family. At her expense. Victor's voice sharpened. She will survive. Your legacy may not. Adrian let out a slow breath. You underestimate her, he said. And you overestimate feelings, Victor replied. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Adrian spoke. If I do this, if I go through with the engagement announcement, will you leave her and her mother alone? Victor paused. Yes. It was the first compromise offered. Adrian swallowed. He hated himself for even considering it. But he remembered Lena's voice. Don't burn everything down tonight. Fine, Adrian said. Victor studied him carefully. You will attend the press dinner tomorrow. And after that, you will behave like the future CEO. Adrian nodded once, but something inside him cracked. The next evening, the press dinner was held in the grand ballroom of one of Vale Group's luxury hotels. Cameras flashed. Reporters murmured. Camille stood beside Adrian in a silver gown, composed as ever. Smile, she whispered under her breath. I'm trying, he replied. Victor stepped up to the podium. Tonight marks a new chapter, he announced, the union of Vale Group and Laurent Enterprises. Applause filled the room. Adrian felt detached from his own body. When the microphone was handed to him, the room went silent. He looked at the crowd, then at Camille, then at his father. This partnership, Adrian began, his voice steady but distant, represents strength and stability. Every word felt rehearsed, mechanical. In business and in family. He hesitated for half a second where he almost said her name. Instead, he continued, I look forward to building a future together. Applause erupted again. Camille slipped her hand into his. Cameras flashed brighter. Across town, Lena watched the live stream on her phone. Her chest felt hollow. Her mother sat beside her quietly. He looks unhappy, Rosa said gently. Lena forced a small smile. He looks responsible. The screen showed Adrian placing a ring on Camille's finger for photographs. The comments section exploded with congratulations. Lena turned the phone face down. That's it, she whispered. Rosa reached for her hand. You did the right thing. Did I? Yes. But Lena didn't feel victorious. She felt erased. Later that night, Adrian stood alone on the balcony outside the ballroom. Camille joined him. You could have refused, she said softly. He didn't look at her. And destroy everything. Sometimes destruction is necessary. He turned slightly. I thought you wanted this. I want stability, she replied. Not a husband who looks like he's attending his own execution. He let out a dry laugh. You're honest. I prefer clarity, she said. Tell me something, Adrian. What? If she asked you to run away tonight, would you? He didn't answer immediately. That was answer enough. Camille nodded slowly. I won't pretend I don't see it, she said. But understand something. My family is depending on this too. I know. Then don't humiliate me, she said quietly. Not in public? I wouldn't. She studied him for a moment. You're not weak, she added. You're just divided. After she left, Adrian pulled out his phone. He scrolled to Lena's contact. He typed a message. I'm sorry. He erased it. He typed again. I did this to protect you. He erased that too. Finally, he put the phone away. Because some apologies feel selfish. Across town, Lena couldn't sleep. Her chest felt tight, like something was pressing against her ribs. She stepped outside onto the small apartment balcony. Rain clouds gathered in the distance. Her phone buzzed suddenly. Her heart leapt. But it wasn't Adrian. It was one of her classmates. Did you see the news? That's the guy you used to talk about, right? Lena typed back quickly. Yes, used to. She turned off her phone. Back at the mansion, Victor stood in his study reviewing the headlines. Vale Heir announces engagement. Strategic alliance secured. Everything was falling into place. But when he looked at his son's photograph, he didn't see victory. He saw something distant. The next morning, Adrian requested to visit one of the company's construction sites alone. Victor allowed it. Good, he said. Start learning the real weight of this empire. Adrian drove without a destination in mind. His thoughts were loud, her laugh in the garden, her voice saying goodbye, her tears when the gates closed. The rain began again, harder this time. His phone rang. He glanced at it briefly. Unknown number. He ignored it. The road ahead blurred slightly from the rain. His mind replayed Lena's last words. Love isn't always enough. The phone rang again. This time he picked it up. Hello? There was static, then a faint voice. Adrian? His heart stopped. Lena? But the line cut out. He looked down at the screen for a second too long. When he looked back up, bright headlights. Too close. A horn blaring. Adrian jerked the steering wheel. Tires screeched against wet asphalt. The world spun. Metal collided with a deafening crash. And then, silence. If you're not subscribed yet, now is the time. Because in part 2, everything changes. To be continued.